The Stoic truth. They never tell you. 10 hidden lessons that will change your mind. Most people come to Stoicism looking for peace. They want to stop overthinking, stop worrying, and become emotionally stronger. But what they usually find are the same famous quotes repeated over and over again. What often gets overlooked are the quieter lessons, the ones that don't sound impressive at first but can completely change the way you live. The Stoics weren't trying to become famous. They weren't trying to win arguments or prove they were wiser than everyone else. They were training themselves to become unshakable in a world that constantly tested them. Some of their most valuable ideas are rarely discussed because they aren't flashy. They require patience, discipline, and the courage to let go of habits that most people never question. Today, we'll explore 15 hidden Stoic lessons that deserve far more attention. Some may challenge what you've always believed about strength, success, and happiness, but if you truly understand them, you'll begin seeing life very differently. Let's begin. 1. Why Stoics avoided explaining themselves. One of the strangest habits of the Stoics was their refusal to constantly explain themselves. In today's world, that seems almost impossible. If someone misunderstands us, we rush to defend our reputation. If we're criticized online, we feel the need to respond. If people question our choices, we immediately try to justify them. The Stoics saw this differently. Epictetus taught that we cannot control what other people think. We can only control our own actions. Once you've acted with honesty and reason, the opinions of others belong to them, not to you. Think about how much energy people waste trying to correct every misunderstanding. Hours disappear arguing with strangers, proving points, or convincing people who have already made up their minds. Even when you win the argument, you rarely change the person's heart. All you've done is exhaust yourself. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that people will always judge through the lens of their own experiences. Some will misunderstand your silence as weakness. Others will mistake your confidence for arrogance. Trying to manage everyone's opinion is like trying to control the weather. Imagine someone at work spreads an unfair rumor about you. Your first instinct is to defend yourself to everyone, but often your consistent behavior over time becomes a stronger answer than any explanation ever could. Character speaks long after words are forgotten. This doesn't mean you should never clarify the truth. There are moments when speaking up is necessary. But Stoicism asks an important question. Are you speaking to solve the problem or simply to protect your ego? That single question changes everything. Real confidence doesn't demand constant validation. It quietly continues doing what is right, even when applause never comes. The next time you feel the urge to explain yourself to someone who is determined not to understand, pause for a moment. Ask whether your peace is worth sacrificing for an opinion you cannot control. More often than not, silence will accomplish what endless explanations never could. 2. The power of becoming forgettable. Most people spend their lives trying to be noticed. They want recognition for their work, admiration for their success, and approval for every decision they make. Social media has only made this desire stronger. Every post, comment, and achievement becomes another chance to ask the world, "Do you see me?" But the Stoics believed that this craving for attention quietly steals your freedom. Seneca observed that the person who constantly seeks praise also becomes a prisoner of criticism. If your happiness depends on being noticed, then your peace depends on the opinions of strangers. One compliment lifts your mood, one insult ruins your day. The Stoics chose a different path. They believed that real strength often grows in silence. The greatest improvements in your character happen when no one is watching. Discipline practiced in private is worth far more than admiration received in public. Think about a tree growing deep in a forest. It doesn't compete with the trees around it. It doesn't demand attention. Day after day, it quietly strengthens its roots. When storms arrive, those hidden roots are what keep it standing. Your life works the same way. Many people exhaust themselves trying to appear successful instead of becoming successful. They buy expensive things they don't need. They chase titles that impress others. They speak more than they listen because they want everyone to know how capable they are. Yet the person who quietly improves every day often ends up far ahead. Imagine two coworkers. One constantly tells everyone how hard they work and makes sure every small achievement gets noticed. The other simply does the job well, keeps learning, and remains reliable. Months later, when an important opportunity appears, people naturally trust the one whose actions consistently spoke louder than words. The Stoics understood something that many people never realize. Attention is temporary, character is lasting. You don't need the world to witness every victory. Some of your greatest achievements should belong only to you. Every workout that nobody applauds, every temptation you resist, every difficult decision you make with integrity, these shape the person you're becoming. Ironically, the less desperate you are to be noticed, the more confident you become. You stop performing for an audience and start living according to your own values. There is a quiet freedom in knowing that your worth doesn't rise or fall with public approval. So ask yourself this: if no one could praise you for doing the right thing, would you still do it? A Stoic would answer yes, because the greatest reward was never being remembered by everyone. It was becoming someone you could always respect. 3. Why being underestimated is an advantage. Most people hate being underestimated. When others doubt their abilities, they feel an immediate need to prove them wrong. They work harder, not because they love the work, but because they want recognition. Every achievement becomes a silent message that says, "Look what I can do." The Stoics saw this reaction as a trap. Marcus Aurelius never believed that your value depended on what others expected of you. He understood that people judge based on limited information. They see your current position, not your potential. They notice your mistakes, but rarely your growth. So why waste energy trying to change their minds? Being underestimated can actually become one of your greatest advantages. When people expect little from you, they stop watching your every move. They don't compete with you. They don't see you as a threat. That gives you something incredibly valuable: space to improve without pressure. Think of an archer preparing for a competition. If everyone is watching, every mistake feels embarrassing. But if no one is paying attention, the archer can quietly practice, fail, adjust, and grow stronger without distraction. Life works the same way. Many successful people spent years developing their skills before anyone noticed them. While others were busy chasing attention, they were building discipline. By the time the world recognized their talent, the hard work had already been done. The Stoics admired this kind of quiet progress. Epictetus taught that instead of announcing your philosophy, you should live it. Don't tell people you're becoming stronger. Become stronger. Don't brag about your discipline. Practice it. Don't argue that you're wise. Let your actions make that argument for you. Imagine starting a new job. Some employees spend their first weeks trying to impress everyone with big promises. Others stay quiet, learn the system, help when needed, and steadily improve. Months later, it's often the quiet worker who earns lasting respect, not because they demanded it, but because they consistently deserved it. There's another hidden benefit to being underestimated. It protects you from your own ego. The more praise you receive, the easier it becomes to believe you've already arrived. But when people doubt you, you're reminded to keep learning, keep improving, and stay humble. The Stoics believed that arrogance is far more dangerous than criticism. Criticism can teach you. Arrogance convinces you there's nothing left to learn. So the next time someone overlooks you or doubts your abilities, don't rush to prove them wrong. Smile. Go back to your work. Keep building your character while no one is paying attention. One day your results will speak so clearly that explanations won't be necessary, and by then you'll no longer care whether anyone expected it in the first place. 4. Silence is a weapon, not weakness. We live in a world that rewards whoever speaks the loudest. Everyone has an opinion. Everyone wants the last word. Whether it's an argument at work, a disagreement online, or a family conflict, people often believe that speaking more means winning. The Stoics believed the opposite. To them, silence wasn't a sign of weakness. It was a sign of self-control. Epictetus once warned that we have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. We should listen more than we speak. Not because our opinions don't matter, but because words spoken without discipline often create problems that silence would have prevented. Think about the last time someone insulted you. Your first reaction was probably immediate. You wanted to defend yourself. Maybe you even imagined the perfect comeback. That's natural. But the Stoics asked a different question. Who is really in control? The person who provoked you or the person who stayed calm? The moment someone can control your emotions with a few words, they've gained power over you. They didn't need to defeat you, they only needed you to react. Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself that other people's actions belong to them. Your response belongs to you. That simple idea changes everything. Imagine you're in a meeting and a coworker unfairly criticizes your work in front of everyone. Most people immediately interrupt, argue, or become defensive. But the person who remains calm, listens carefully, and responds only when necessary often appears far stronger. Their silence isn't surrender, it's discipline. Silence also gives you something that anger never can: clarity. When emotions are high, your judgment becomes clouded. You say things you don't mean, you make decisions you'll regret. But a few moments of silence create space between the event and your reaction. In that space, reason has a chance to take over. The Stoics believed that every unnecessary argument steals a piece of your peace. Not every opinion deserves your attention. Not every insult deserves a response. Sometimes the strongest answer is none at all. This doesn't mean you should never speak. There are times when justice demands a voice. There are moments when defending someone or standing for what is right is necessary. Stoicism is not about becoming passive. It's about choosing your words with intention instead of emotion. A calm voice carries more weight than a loud one. A measured response is remembered longer than an angry outburst, and silence, when chosen wisely, often says more than 100 arguments ever could. The next time someone tries to pull you into unnecessary conflict, pause before you answer. Ask yourself, will these words improve the situation or only satisfy my ego? If the answer is your ego, let the silence do the talking. Because the strongest person in the room is rarely the loudest. It's the one who has mastered themselves. 5. Stop trying to be liked. From the time we're young, we're taught to seek approval. We want our classmates to like us. Later, we want our coworkers to respect us. We want friends to agree with us, strangers to admire us, and everyone to think we're a good person. At first, this seems harmless, but the Stoics believed that the desire to be liked can quietly become one of the greatest obstacles to a peaceful life. Why? Because the moment your happiness depends on other people's approval, you've handed them control over your emotions. Imagine changing your opinions just to avoid criticism, saying yes when you really want to say no, laughing at jokes you don't find funny, staying in unhealthy relationships because you're afraid of disappointing someone. Little by little, you stop living your own life. You begin living the life you think others expect from you. Marcus Aurelius understood this struggle. As emperor, he knew that no matter what decision he made, someone would criticize him. If he focused on pleasing everyone, he would never make a single meaningful decision. The same is true for us. No matter how kind you are, someone will misunderstand you. No matter how honest you are, someone will question your motives. No matter how hard you work, someone will say, "It isn't enough. That isn't failure, that's reality." The Stoics didn't measure success by popularity, they measured it by character. Ask yourself this: would you rather be admired for pretending to be someone you're not, or respected because you stayed true to your values? Those are very different lives. Think about a ship crossing the ocean. It doesn't change direction every time the wind shifts. It has a destination, and the captain adjusts only when reason tells him to, not when every wave demands it. Your values should be your compass in the same way. If every opinion changes your direction, you'll spend your entire life drifting. Epictetus taught that if you want to improve, you must be willing to look foolish in the eyes of others. Some people won't understand your discipline. They'll call your boundaries selfish. They'll mock your ambition. They'll question your silence. Let them. Their opinions cannot define you unless you allow them to. Ironically, people often respect those who aren't desperate for approval. Confidence has a quiet presence. It doesn't beg to be accepted. It simply acts according to what is right. This doesn't mean you should stop caring about people. The Stoics encouraged kindness, compassion, and fairness, but they drew a clear line between being kind and being controlled. Kindness comes from strength. People-pleasing comes from fear. One builds your character, the other slowly destroys it. So the next time you're tempted to change yourself just to gain someone's approval, stop and ask, am I doing this because it's right, or because I want to be liked? That single question can save you from years of living for someone else's expectations. The Stoics knew a secret that many people never learn. You don't need everyone to like you. You only need to be able to respect the person you become when you look in the mirror. 6. Your comfort is quietly destroying you. If there is one thing the modern world promises, it's comfort. Food arrives with a tap. Entertainment is endless. If something feels difficult, there's usually a shortcut waiting for us. At first, this seems like progress, but the Stoics believed that a life built entirely around comfort comes with a hidden cost. The more comfortable you become, the less capable you often are. Think about it. A sword left unused begins to rust. A muscle that is never challenged grows weaker. The human mind is no different. Without difficulty, it slowly loses its strength. This is why the Stoics didn't run from hardship. They trained with it. Seneca, despite being one of the wealthiest men in Rome, would sometimes sleep on the floor, wear simple clothes, and eat plain food for a few days. Not because he enjoyed suffering, but because he wanted to remind himself that he could survive without luxury. He asked himself, is this what I feared? Most of the time, the answer was no. His greatest fear wasn't poverty. It was becoming dependent on comfort. Today, many of us face a different version of the same problem. We avoid difficult conversations because they make us uncomfortable. We delay important goals because they require discipline. We stay in familiar routines even when we know they're holding us back. Comfort whispers, stay where you are. Tomorrow is a better day to begin. But tomorrow keeps moving. Weeks become months. Months become years. And one day you realize you've been standing still while life moved on without you. Imagine two people. The first wakes up every morning and chooses the easiest path. They skip the workout, avoid the challenge, and wait until they feel motivated. The second also feels tired. They also have doubts, but they act anyway. A year later, their lives look completely different. Not because one was more talented, because one became stronger every time they chose discomfort over convenience. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that every morning he was born to do the work of a human being, not to stay wrapped in comfort like someone hiding from life. That's a lesson many of us need today. Growth rarely feels comfortable. Learning is uncomfortable. Discipline is uncomfortable. Facing your fears is uncomfortable, but so is regret. The difference is that one kind of discomfort lasts for a moment, the other can last a lifetime. The Stoics understood that hardship isn't your enemy, it's your teacher. Every obstacle develops patience. Every setback builds resilience. Every challenge reveals a strength you didn't know you possessed. So the next time you catch yourself choosing the easy path simply because it's familiar, pause for a moment. Ask yourself, is this making my life easier, or is it making me weaker? That question has the power to change your future, because comfort feels good today, but discipline builds a life you'll be grateful for tomorrow. 7. Expect betrayal without becoming bitter. One of the hardest lessons in life is realizing that not everyone who smiles at you wants the best for you. Friends change, promises are broken. People you trusted can disappoint you when you least expect it. For many, betrayal becomes a turning point. They stop trusting anyone. They become cold, suspicious, and angry. They convince themselves that kindness is weakness. The Stoics warned against this. They believed you should expect that people, being human, will sometimes lie, betray, disappoint, or act selfishly. But expecting these possibilities doesn't mean living in fear. It means accepting reality before it shocks you. Marcus Aurelius began many mornings by reminding himself that he would meet people who were selfish, dishonest, arrogant, and ungrateful. He wasn't being pessimistic, he was preparing his mind. When those people appeared, he wasn't surprised, and because he wasn't surprised, he wasn't controlled by their behavior. Imagine walking outside during a rainstorm without an umbrella. You'd probably complain that you got soaked. Now imagine walking outside knowing rain was likely, carrying an umbrella with you. The rain hasn't changed, but your response has. Life works the same way. When you expect perfection from people, every mistake feels like a personal attack. When you remember that everyone struggles with fear, pride, and temptation, disappointment hurts less. That doesn't mean you should tolerate abuse or stay in toxic relationships. The Stoics never taught blind acceptance. If someone repeatedly betrays your trust, wisdom may require you to walk away, but walking away doesn't require hatred. Too many people carry old betrayals for years. They replay conversations in their minds, imagine revenge, and allow someone from the past to continue stealing their peace. Think about that for a moment. The person who hurt you may have already moved on with their life, yet you're still carrying the weight. The Stoics would ask a simple question: why continue punishing yourself for someone else's actions? Forgiveness in the Stoic sense isn't pretending nothing happened. It isn't excusing bad behavior. It's choosing not to let another person's mistakes become the ruler of your emotions. Because every day spent consumed by resentment is another day you surrender your peace. There is strength in protecting your heart, but there is even greater strength in refusing to let bitterness live there. The next time someone disappoints you, remember this. People can break your trust. They cannot break your character unless you let them. Respond with wisdom. Set healthy boundaries. Learn the lesson. Then keep moving forward. The Stoics understood that a peaceful mind is too valuable to hand over to those who fail to value your loyalty. Don't let betrayal make you bitter. Let it make you wiser. 8. Most problems die when ignored. We often believe that every problem demands an immediate response. Someone criticizes us, we answer. Someone insults us, we defend ourselves. A negative comment appears online, we feel the need to explain. It's almost automatic. But the Stoics understood something that most people learn only after years of frustration. Not every problem deserves your attention. In fact, many problems survive only because we keep feeding them. Imagine a small fire in the woods. If no one adds more wood, it slowly burns out. But if people keep throwing branches onto it, the flames grow larger and harder to control. Our minds work the same way. Many of our worries, arguments, and frustrations become bigger simply because we refuse to let them go. Epictetus taught that it is not events themselves that disturb us, but our judgment about those events. Think about that. Two people receive the same harsh criticism. One spends the next week replaying the words, growing angry and anxious. The other listens, takes anything useful from it, and moves on. The criticism was the same, the suffering was different. The difference wasn't the event, it was the response. This is why the Stoics were careful about where they placed their attention. They knew that attention is one of the most valuable things a person owns. Whatever you repeatedly focus on grows stronger in your mind. Focus on gratitude and your life feels richer. Focus on every insult and your life becomes filled with enemies. Imagine someone cuts you off in traffic. For a few seconds it's an inconvenience, but if you spend the next hour complaining about it, you've allowed a 10-second event to steal 60 minutes of your peace. How often do we do the same thing? A careless remark from a coworker ruins our entire evening. A stranger's opinion stays in our thoughts for days. A small mistake convinces us that we're failures. None of these moments had the power to control us on their own. We gave them that power. Of course, Stoicism doesn't suggest ignoring serious problems. If your health is at risk, take action. If someone is being treated unfairly, stand up for what's right. If a responsibility needs your attention, don't avoid it. Wisdom means knowing the difference between a problem that needs action and one that only wants your attention. Most people react to everything. The Stoic chooses carefully. Before giving your energy to a situation, ask yourself, will this matter a year from now? If the answer is no, maybe it doesn't deserve another minute of your peace today. Remember this: every unnecessary argument, every pointless worry, every imagined disaster takes something from you that you can never get back. Your time, your focus, your peace of mind. Guard them carefully. Because sometimes the strongest move isn't solving every problem, it's refusing to keep alive the ones that should have faded away on their own. 9. The strongest person doesn't seek revenge. When someone hurts us, our first instinct is often the same. We want them to feel what we felt. We imagine proving them wrong, embarrassing them, or watching life punish them for what they did. Revenge promises satisfaction. It whispers that we'll finally find peace once the other person suffers. But the Stoics believed this was one of the greatest illusions of all. Revenge doesn't free you, it ties you to the very person who hurt you. Every moment you spend planning how to get even is another moment they're still controlling your mind. Even if they never think about you again, you're carrying them with you, day after day. Marcus Aurelius understood that people often act out of ignorance, fear, jealousy, or anger. That doesn't excuse their actions, but it explains them. And once you understand that, revenge begins to lose its appeal. Think about someone who throws mud at your clothes. You could chase them through the streets, throwing mud back until both of you are covered. Or you could wash yourself and continue your journey. Which choice leaves you in a better place? Too many people spend years chasing the first option. The Stoics chose the second. They believed your greatest victory isn't defeating another person, it's refusing to become like them. Imagine a coworker who spreads false rumors about you. You have two choices. You can respond with gossip of your own, turning the workplace into a battlefield, or you can continue acting with honesty, letting your character expose the truth over time. The first choice may feel satisfying for a moment. The second builds a reputation that lasts. Seneca once suggested that the best revenge is not to resemble the one who caused the harm. Those words carry incredible wisdom. If someone lies, don't become a liar. If someone is cruel, don't become cruel. If someone is dishonest, don't let their behavior convince you to abandon your own integrity. Otherwise, they've done more than hurt you. They've changed who you are. And that's a far greater loss than anything they originally took. This doesn't mean allowing people to walk over you. The Stoics believed in justice, set boundaries, protect yourself, walk away when necessary. But don't confuse justice with revenge. Justice seeks what is right. Revenge seeks emotional satisfaction. One brings peace, the other keeps the wound open. The next time someone wrongs you, ask yourself a simple question: will becoming like this person improve my life? The answer is almost always no. Your greatest response isn't making them suffer. It's continuing to grow while they remain trapped by their own choices, because true strength isn't found in striking back. It's found in walking away with your character untouched, and that is a victory no one can ever take from you. 10. Protect your mind. More than your reputation. If you ask most people what they fear losing the most, many would say their reputation. They worry about what others think. They fear being criticized, misunderstood, or judged. So they spend countless hours trying to manage their image, hoping everyone will see them in the best possible light. But the Stoics believed there was something far more valuable than reputation: your mind. Because while other people can attack your reputation, only you can surrender your peace of mind. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire, yet he understood that no emperor, not even one trying to do the right thing, could escape criticism. Every decision he made pleased some people and angered others. He realized something freeing. You can spend your entire life protecting your reputation and still fail. Someone will always misunderstand you. Someone will always believe a rumor. Someone will judge you without knowing your story. If your happiness depends on correcting every false opinion, you'll never have time to truly live. Imagine carrying a glass of water filled to the very top. Every insult, Every rumor, every harsh comment is another hand trying to make you spill it. The Stoics would tell you not to fight every hand, focus on holding the glass steady. That glass is your mind, because once your peace is gone, it doesn't matter how good your reputation looks. Many people have sacrificed their mental health trying to appear perfect. They compare themselves to strangers, they hide their mistakes, they pretend to have everything under control. From the outside, they seem successful. Inside, they're exhausted. The Stoics had no interest in living that way. They believed your thoughts deserved more protection than your image. Think about how much time people spend worrying about conversations that happened days ago. Did I say the wrong thing? Do they still respect me? What are they saying about me? Hours disappear chasing answers that may not even exist. Meanwhile, the present moment slips away. Epictetus taught that if something is outside your control, don't attach your peace to it. Your reputation belongs partly to other people, their opinions, their assumptions, their conversations. None of those are fully yours to control, but your mind is. You can choose honesty, you can choose patience, you can choose integrity, and when you've done that, you've already done your part. The rest is noise. This doesn't mean you should ignore your character. Quite the opposite. Build a reputation through your actions, but never become a slave to defending it. Let your life answer accusations. Let your consistency silence doubt. And if someone still refuses to see the truth, accept that not every mind can be changed. The next time you find yourself losing sleep over what someone might think of you, ask yourself this: what's more important, their opinion or my peace? The Stoics already knew the answer. Reputation comes and goes, praise fades, criticism fades. Even the people judging you today will eventually move on with their own lives, but the quality of your mind stays with you every single day. Guard it carefully. Because a peaceful mind is worth far more than a perfect reputation, that is the quiet strength the Stoics wanted us to discover. If these hidden Stoic lessons challenge the way you think, remember this. Stoicism isn't about becoming emotionless, it's about becoming unshakable. It's about learning to protect your peace in a world that constantly tries to take it from you. Every lesson you've heard today points to the same truth. Your greatest battle has never been with other people. It's with your own reactions, your own fears, and your own habits. You won't master these ideas overnight. Neither did the Stoics. They practiced them every day, one decision at a time. So start with just one lesson, choose the one that spoke to you the most, and put it into practice today, because wisdom means nothing until it becomes action. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more timeless Stoic wisdom that helps you build a calmer, stronger, and more disciplined life. Until next time, remember, the strongest person isn't the one who controls the world, it's the one who has learned to control themselves.